Hi, my name's Neil and welcome back to Retro for You. On today's episode we're going to be looking at what's inside this box. And what's inside this box is some hot tweezers. Now these have been very kindly sent to me by Sequre to go and have a look at and just have a test and do a video review on them for you guys. And also having a set of tweezers on the market which is a good price is something we all need, because as you know they're either very expensive at the top end or they're very low and they're not particularly good. It'd be nice to get something else out there to try. Now these are not only hot tweezers, they act as a soldering iron as well with interchangeable tips, which is absolutely brilliant, and also they're quite a small package as well. There's a link down below to the product from Sequre, and there's also a link down to AliExpress where you can actually pick these up. Now without further ado, let's crack on and get these tested. A big thank you for Sequre for sending me this box. So we are going to open this now on video so you can share the opening with me. Now I do like getting things like this because being a small channel we don't generally get emails sent to myself. So when I do get an email asking me if we want to test something, I'm like, yes please. So that's great. This actually looks quite useful what's in here. It's those hot tweezers. Without further ado, let's crack on and get this box open. Are we ready? Let's go. Oh, straight away it's heat shrunk in a little pouch. Now that is quite cool, and it's a Sequre on there. It feels quite weighty as well. It doesn't feel very light and cheap, which is good. So we're just going to slice this open. Look at that. It looks absolutely lovely. Now I'm generally blown away at this because I did not expect anything like this in a case. So in here we have the HT140 hot tweezers. Now it's about time we had some other hot tweezers on the market because there's not really a lot of choice. The ones that are out there are either quite bad or really expensive, so it's good to have an in-between model like this. Now these retail at under £100, so that's nice. I didn't buy these, I've been given these to trial out and to show to you guys to see what they're like. So here we have the base, which has got a nice rubber base on the bottom which should stop it from slipping. Now this is quite heavy as well, which is good. There's nothing wrong when you get a light base. I mean, to be honest, I bought a Sequre desoldering gun which wasn't that cheap. It cost me a lot of money, and that came with the most pathetic stand I could ever imagine seeing. In fact, I'll show you what it came with here. For the Sequre desoldering gun, which cost me quite a bit of money, you know, they're not that cheap, you get this, a bent piece of metal, which is atrocious. Come on Sequre, what are you playing at? These can do it right, for sure. So we're going to build that stand up in a bit. Also you get a nice high quality silicon lead. Now these are high temperatures, so if you do accidentally touch it with a soldering iron, it won't melt. And also it's nice and thick as well. I think it's 1.5 meters long, which is perfectly adequate for the job. We've also got a 65 watt power supply, an adapter for the UK plug. Here we have the rest of the bits for the stand here, which again is far better than the other one. And we also have some earth straps here as well for earthing it out. Here we have a QR code which will download a set of PDF instructions which we will take a look at in a while. Now under here, let's just move this out of the way, we have the actual tweezers themselves. Now these are the HT140s. Now you can see they've got a nice little LCD screen there, which is quite cool. I like that. Now these can not only be used as tweezers, you can actually take one of these out and just heat one side. Each side can be heated independently. So you could actually use it as a portable soldering iron as well, which I think is quite a cool idea. So you don't have to have both sides heating up. Now it has come with some very small tips. They do come out, they're fastened in with some little tiny grub screws around there, but you do get a tool in here to undo it. It's a very small Allen key. Now the power it takes is either from USB-C or either from a DC input there. The maximum voltage is 28 volt. So it'll be interesting to see how long this takes to heat up. So what we're going to do is we're going to power it up to 65 watt. But first we're going to build this stand together. Then we're going to have a look at the instructions, a quick look over to see what they're like, see what the English language is like, etc. And we'll get round to doing some testing on a scrap Amiga 1200 board I got, because these things are ideal for taking off capacitors, and that's what I'd mainly be using it for. So let's just see how good they are. We'll take off some can caps and we'll take off some little SMD ones as well and see how these perform. So let's just crack on and get this thing built up. Giving this sponge. Now these sponges I don't really rate. I tend to use the old copper which I've got here. They tend to work a lot better to clean off with copper. You can use both. I never use sponges, but at least it's there and there's a nice little touch. We've got a nice little screwdriver. And we have the stand here and some screws. So it's just a matter of 2 screws to fasten that in. Just like so, I guess. That's all it is. That's nice and easy, isn't it? And there you have your finished stand. Now I've noticed in this bag there's also some tiny grub screws. I don't know if you can see them on the camera there. See them sliding around, which is good because it means you could probably lose them quite easy. So at least you've got spare 4 screws for when you're changing the tips. That is a shame that isn't the pushing tips, but maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's to stop them turning, because I know I had a set before where the tips used to twist, etc. and that wasn't good. So I think they've alleviated that by using the grub screws to actually keep that in place. So that's the stand built. Now we can actually get the little tweezers now and stand them in just like so. This base, it doesn't slip and slide. It's good, it stays firm and it sits in there lovely. Look at that. I'm quite impressed with that. That's going to save a lot of room on my desk. So if you're stuck for space, this is great because of the size of it. It's actually a very small footprint. It doesn't slip and slide and it will sit nicely on your desk, and these just sit in so easy. Let's just have a quick look through this manual now. You got a nice picture there, HT140 hot tweezers. Now going down, thanks for buying this product, please read the instructions carefully. So let's just go over a few of the things. Product description, it's got a working temperature between 50 to 500 degrees. Now that is a big enough temperature to cover anything I do for sure. It supports multiple power supplies, PD 3.1, 3.0, 2.0. Also QC3 2.0 and DC 5 to 28 volt. LiPo battery, also power adapters etc. So you can run it off your desktop power supply if you want. So the HT140 is a combination of hot tweezers, soldering iron, which can be independently controlled for single-sided heating. Now that in itself is very useful because here you've got only hot tweezers but soldering iron in a small package you can take around with you if you're doing any repairs, say at a computer show or something, or if you go into a computer club and somebody says, can you just change me this little capacitor here? You can say, of course I can. Whip out my HT140s and off I go. Snip, off it goes. It's got high precision heating element, precise temperatures, and it intelligently controls temperature algorithm with a maximum accuracy of plus or minus 1%. And it said it only takes 2 seconds to melt the tin, the solder. It's got intelligent standby sleep and wake function, extending the surface of life desoldering tip as well as improving work efficiency. Now I'm not going to be able to comment today on the life of the tips because we're not going to be doing that much soldering today. We are going to be doing some desoldering on an old Amiga board, but obviously I can't comment on how long these tips last, but they do look good quality. So it's also equipped with a 1.5 high temperature resilient silicon PD 150 watt wire and an all metal base H station for easy use and storage. And like I said, even the big manufacturers like Sequre give you a bent piece of metal, but this one gives you a decent one, so big thumbs up for doing that. So you can replace the desoldering tips and freely adjust the working angles to meet the needs of different SMD soldering scenarios. So I have seen online they do ones with square tips, they do ones with very fine pin tips, they do all sorts of tips for these, so I will be picking some of these up obviously at a future date. So the maximum power is 140 watt. Interface is Type C and DC 5525. This is it, Chinese, English and Russian languages, so it's good that it's got English. Now this is just a bit about the screen, it shows you what, so you got your temperature set there, the temperature is actually at there. Working means it's on, because I know when you press stop it stops. And then that's your power you got coming in, 28 volt, and it also shows you what power it's pulling, so that's pulling 5 amp there. So you've got a couple of warnings here that says no tip and left and right, no tip right, because you have to change the temperatures. You've got buzzers, sleep timers, brightness. There's lots of things in here to play around with. Turbo temperature, increases temperature in turbo mode, duration of temperature increase in turbo mode. There's lots and lots. We're not going to go over this because we'll be here forever. But the set of instructions are very well done. I'm very impressed with these. Tells you here how to remove your tips. We're just going quickly around. Tells you how to do a firmware update. Tells you how to build your little stand, although it was only 2 screws, but at least it tells you how to do it in case you do it wrong. And I did do mine correctly. And also we have warranty terms here, and there's another QR code there. So this is a company here, www.securemore.com, so go along and check out that link. The link down below to the tweezers is down there. There's also a link down to AliExpress if you want to buy some of these. They're currently retailing, I think, at around 97 quid, which I cannot complain at. And these are absolutely worth the money, I'd say so, because they're brilliant. So if you need some hot tweezers, if you want to do some desoldering, if you want to do some decapping of Amigas, you don't want to cut them off with those pliers, you don't want to twist them off with pliers and damage your board, then this is a way forward because it makes your job so much easier. You're ready to plug this in. We're just going to plug it in. A temperature of 23 degrees. So what we're going to do is, you can just look around the display here. We've got 24 degrees. And if we press this button up and down, we can adjust the temperatures right the way up to 500 degrees and right the way down to 50 degrees. So that's quite good. I guess if you want to do a bit of plastic welding with some old tips, not with these tips, then that would be ideal. And we're just going to throw time up on the screen as well and see how long it takes to get up to temperature. I'm going to try and hit both buttons at once. So, according to this, it took an amazing 3 seconds to get up to temperature. Now that is crazy. That is using the 65 watt supply that is supplied with it. And that is just unbelievable. Even if it took 5 seconds, guys, that would be amazing. But that took 3 seconds according to this. That is just crazy. Gone are the days now where you're waiting for things to warm up, etc. Now, after this, I will just record it through the thermal camera so you can see there's no heat transferring into the base here or anything where you're holding. It's perfectly safe. All the heat is down here. I don't want to touch that and set fire to my fingers live on video. So we're just going to do what I call a predator test and see what happens. So we just need to turn this on. See that, how it's heating up? Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Now we're turning it up to 300, 350. You can see that the power going through it. 400, glowing nicely at the end. And the thing is, there's no heat here or here. It's absolutely brilliant. There's no heat transference to the body, which is what you want to see. So that again is well made, absolutely brilliant. So we've got the old tweezers set up here. We've got a scrap Amiga board. We're just going to try and remove this resistor. Now you got to remember, we've got no flux on this at all. We're just going to try straight out and take this resistor off. This is set at 300 degrees. Now you can see that is melting, and we can just lift that off. It's as easy as that, guys. The next one is this other cap here, this surface mount. Again, with flux this would have been easier, but let's just see. We'll just hold them on, let it melt, and again lift off. Look at that, really good. I'm really impressed with this. And again, we can just put it on. We can melt the solder. And that is on now, I think. Let me just check. Yeah. Solid. Really impressive. Should we try it on a big cap? I'm going to turn the temperature up to 350 degrees. Just because these are small tips, and we'll get the tip each side. We'll try to. Look at that. Easy peasy. That literally took seconds to take that cap off. And both these tracks are good here. You can see there, look. And look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Now I'm very impressed with these. This has got a load of rubbish around it, I guess, from another capacitor. Let's just see if we can get that one off. You can see all the brown goo there coming off. Again, no problem. Turning it up to 350 has made a big difference. They're easier to get stuff off. Now what is great about these tweezers, when you got something close like this PMCIA slot here, you can get to the caps quite easy with these without actually touching and damaging the actual slot. So I can just put these on, hopefully melt the solder, and then lift that off, no problem. And then obviously you can see there, these pads are great and not damaged. As easy as that. So that's what makes it good. If I was using hot air, I'd have to apply tape over all this plastic slot here. And with these tweezers, I can just go in. Let's see if we can remove one of these here. Yeah, look at that. See? That's easy. That's just a three-legged transistor come off. As easy as that. These are so good. So on that note, we're going to leave it, and I'll see you in the outro. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Sequre for sending me these hot tweezers here. Now, I will be honest, I've never heard of Sequre before. This is the first time I've ever heard of them, and I'm so glad they reached out to me and offered me these to test, because I am overly impressed with these things. They heat up so quick, the build quality is brilliant, the base is absolutely brilliant, because obviously, like I said before, it's not a bent piece of metal. And they just work. I mean, to remove the caps off that Amiga 1200, it was easy. It took a few seconds on each. It was just literally pop them off. And even the smaller SMDs, these are even better for doing the smaller SMDs, but they do take off the bigger surface mount cans as well. And like I said before, if you change the tips to some flat ones, I'm sure you'd remove them even quicker, because even with these smaller tips, it did the job. So big thumbs up and a big thank you to Sequre for sending me this. Don't forget, if you're new here, then please hit the like button. And also, if you want to see more content like this and retro repairs, then please hit that subscribe button. I've just been doing this over 2 years. I do have 3 paying members. Thank you to those guys at 99p a month. It just helps to running the channel. Also, while you're here, check down the link below to my YouTube buddies. You've got the likes of Captain Commodore, 8-Bit Retro Refix, and JosibRetroBits. They all do different things. Some do repairs, some do a bit of programming. Also, there's a link down below to our Discord where you can come along and meet us all and have a chat. Have a good old chinwag about retro things, retro repairs, etc. And before you go, don't forget to drop a comment down below, even if it's hello. And on that note, I shall see you next time on Retro for You. See you soon, guys. Bye.